Hey guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're back over on the YouTube account and we have some PvP events, including the Heroes of Esperia, that we'll really have to get into. We went through the Temporal Rift last night. I got to the point of utilizing 3 teams, so it is getting a little tough. And of course, if you're unfamiliar, this is the very last day. If you want to do your final push within the Heroes of Esperia, this is the very last day. You can see we have 9 hours left. Treasure Scramble is up for PvP. Also, the Treasure Vanguard is up for PvP. So we have a ton of PvP that is going on right now in AFK Arena. So I want to hop in here. I want to farm this out a little bit. If you got any questions, if anything, I know it's a little bit earlier for the stream. We got the Lions game at 1, so I'm super excited. And overall, we're pushing through here, and you can see we're only just north of 10,000 points now. I think we need 12,000, a little over 12,000 to actually finish this out. But looking at my level, for where we're at level-wise, we're still significantly higher on the level. I know we have a lot of heroes that are pretty well built. Using the Awakened version of Thorn, using Nox, using a lot of different heroes in here is working incredibly, incredibly well. I don't think we've had that many defeats in here with the records. Overall, it's been, yeah, there's been a couple little defeats in there, but you can see most of them we didn't lose any points at all. So pretty cool to see. So let's go ahead and farm this out. HOE is made up of only the top 10% of players. So the big thing with the Heroes of Esperia, I know that the top 10% of players, but if you can get to Masters. So I went through OSA and I went through on my free-to-play account. We made it all the way to Masters as a lower player, as a newer player to AFK Arena. We went through, we farmed this. It did take a little bit of time. You got to choose your matches, choose the lineups within here if you have some of the meta formations. Are we going to farm really this further than Masters? No, we never really do. Once you do get to Masters, it gets incredibly pay to win. And that's exactly by design. That's what we have always seen with the PvP aspect in literally any game that I have ever played. When it comes to PvP, it has always been the player, unfortunately, with the largest wallet always wins. Most of the time, it's not about the skill of a player, unfortunately, because if you have a player that has everyone built, that has the 80 engraving on everybody, it's not really a contest if you don't have something to compete in that arena. And of course, that is where PvP comes in. I have a bug where my game does not fit the entire screen. Any suggestions? What are you playing on, Skyper? Let me know what you're playing on. With Skyland's release, Gwen no longer used in the Cursed Realm Nightmare Corridor. So the big thing with Skyland, I know I've seen a couple where Skyland has actually replaced Gwen. I've also seen places where Skyland over on the test server that are replaced with that's replacing the Awakened version of Iran. So we are kind of seeing both in there, that we're seeing a little bit of a replacement with both. And the thing is, Osa, is if you look at that hero like Gwen, if you don't have Skyland, it's Gwen. It's always going to be Gwen. I mean, I'm not here as being the top 1% player in all of the different game modes. I'm not going to be. I don't have the resources, nor do I want to put anything into here to buy and essentially build Skyland. Nope, I am sticking with Gwen in all of those formations. I am not going to build Skyland. I'm not going to use Skyland. I'm still building Lan out at this point. So again, even though a lot of players are still working on Gwen, or some players have finished Gwen like myself, that's what I'm staying with. And honestly, when you start looking bigger picture, the amount of players that have Skyland versus the amount of players that don't have Skyland, and of course, when you're starting to look at the whale players, they might have built Skyland early. It's going to work in their formation. That top 1% or that top 0.5, 0.1%, whatever it is still going to stay that same exact 0.1%. That is not going to change at all. I play on my iPhone. Said everything worked fine, but then it changed. I would probably uninstall it. That's always the Skyper. That's always the first place to start. If you do the uninstall and reinstall, if that doesn't fix it, you'd probably have to look at some of the settings. Probably have to look a little bit different. Sorry, I'm kind of new. Can you show me? So the teams that we're using in here, and again, going back to the very, very high and heavy pay to win aspect of AFK Arena. So the teams that I'm running in here is a combination of some of the ones that we've seen. Even looking here, we have Liberta and Lucilla. Those are two very, very strong heroes together. Then we do have Hildwyn, which is kind of the damage mitigation in here. Meleon as a buffer, and also for a big buffer when it comes to Hildwyn. And then we have Kregor in here, this monster tank. Now, of course, Kregor, he's being used in some niche formations, but when it comes to PvP, Kregar is a monster and very, very tough to kill. Second formation, we are running Lan in here. Now, this is an older school formation. We have Vathil in here, and then we do have Naruko. But with the Awakened version of Sophia and Lan, and of course, Damio at the triple support, does work incredibly well within these formations. This is actually one that I would probably swap with another formation. We can even swap this one down a little bit further. Try to get some of these newer, kind of some of these bigger formations kind of built up a little bit further. Now looking at, oh, let's go back to this one because I skipped it. So this is the Awakened version of Chimera. So if you're not familiar, the Awakened version of Chimera and Randall is super, super impressive with the PvP aspect. Now we do have Tarnos in here. That is an older school PvP, but when it comes to PvP, it is literally the best thing that they do. Awakened version of Athalia and then Aurelia in this formation as well. Really rounding out that one. Now here, it is Lucius. Now, the problem that we have with the Awakened version of Lucius is survivability. When you start looking at higher level deficiencies, the Awakened version of Lucius will get completely decimated, will be completely run over. In this formation specifically, you have Shuna and you have Lavatoon, which are keeping them alive. Gavis as a really big mitigation, damage mitigation hero. Lucius will shine with the build that we have on here. And then, of course, Eugene with the SP effect working incredibly well. Looking at team number 4, this is the stall team. So this is where the seal is going to do its magic. And here, Thorin's going to have to die a ton of times. We know Matria back here is going to have to die a ton of times. Nox is going to run away from everybody in the world. Kanisa and Rook is super hard to kill. And if you happen to kill all 4 of these heroes in their entirety, you still have to deal with Flora up in the skies that has to come down and you have to kill her again. And then, of course, that last team we did swap and we did talk about that one. It's interesting. When it comes to PvP, like we said, PvP is super expensive and it requires heroes that are of a very, very high build. And there we go. We're at 11, 934. This is where the numbers go to really nothing when you're trying to push over this to get into the Masters League. And like I said, with Masters, I'll show you when we get there, because once you hit Masters League, there isn't much unless you're a mega whale that you can really do in the game mode, unless you're to the point where, and there we go. I think we need 10 points. I think we need 9 more points in here, but there's nothing you can really do in the game mode until, or really until you get to the point of it being completely done. Rendell needs E60 for PvP. His energy is too slow. I think I have him at 60. I think Rendell is already 60 in here. I barely got 2 stars, but someone kicked me back to Diamond 1 soon. Yeah, this is an area, again, that you want to push. This is an area, see, it might be a little bit higher. I forget, there's a way to check it. I know we talked about this last time, that there is a place that you can check that it actually shows you where you're at. Maybe it's a leaderboard of where you have to go for the rankings and where you have to actually build it up a little bit further. But let's just continue in here. We'll keep going with these. There we go. So 12,099. I was going to say, I know it shows somewhere. We found it last time. All these summons I spent in Gwen, and now she's useless. So Estelle, the big thing, and we talk about this quite a bit, is when you look at heroes and when you look at heroes in general, just because the Gwen is not being used as the best in slot in some formations, it by no means makes Gwen useless. That is such an understatement where, okay, if you had Skylin, and if you had Skylin built up in the entirety, maxed 100%, great. You might have a lot less utility when it comes to Gwen. If you don't have Skylin, guess what? Gwen is still the best in slot. You have to realize that is when it comes to a lot of these heroes. And there we go. There is Masters, guys. But when it comes to these heroes, just because another hero replaces it, just because another support hero comes out, it never means that the hero is useless. You got to look at bigger picture. We have, what, 170 heroes in AFK Arena. There's a point you're going to use the hero, and there's a point you are going to use it. There's our little fire lights up. We go into Masters. Now, this, of course, is where we leave it. I stay at Masters in the entirety. So the thing is, with 9 hours left, or 8 hours and 50 minutes, is when you start going in here and when you start looking at battles within here, you do get to 7 teams, I believe it is at this point. So adding team number 6, adding team number 7. However, the only thing that matters when you come to Masters is really probably the last 10 minutes of this. Because remember, when you get up to this level, you only have, and I believe it's the top 2,000 players. So what players do is they will sit, if you're not big enough like I am not, to hold a spot within this Legends formation. I wait till the very end. If I can get a good win right before the event ends, I can actually place higher than just the basic masters just entering here, which of course is going to give us some more rewards out of here with the addition. So here's masters. This is where we're at. This is the base. Of course, we're going to getting some bizarre totems. But if I can stay in that top 2,000, I will actually get a little bit more rewards. And then, of course, the top 500, top 100. For a majority of players, including myself, I cannot hold a spot in Legends. My account is not big enough. I don't have, I'm not a high enough level, whatever it is. I cannot hold a spot in here at all. That is why I really look towards when this is ending, right before it's ending, is trying to beat at least one player within here to get into that top 2,000 is what we look at. Aurelia or Nox, honestly, AG, both of them, we know Aurelia I would probably put first because Aurelia is still that top SSS tier. I feel like Nox is going to be there too. But you're also looking at Aurelia, we know is proven. We know what formations Aurelia is being used in. Even if you build Nox, if Nox comes into that very top tier, we're still going to have the same. We're still going to have two support heroes that are used in an incredible amount of content. That is the reason why, you know, I really wouldn't discount building Aurelia just because Nox is out or vice versa, because both of them are being used in a lot of different formations. Now, Treasure Vanguard, we're still coming in at number 1. And over on Companions, we did come in at number 1 in Companions, which is pretty cool. In here, it's just make sure you're doing your dispatch. That is something you have to do. If you miss doing the dispatch, you're never going to join these operations. You're never going to get this done. Making sure when you hop into operations that you're sending your heroes, and they do come back. They only do this for a certain amount of time. Then you have to come back to this event. You have to re-dispatch the heroes in here, which was weird because as you can see, we have 3 heroes in each formation. I don't know why it's bugged out with the third formation. A lot of players were talking about it over on Reddit, that it's weird how it's doing it, or is it bugged, or are they really dispatching? Never got an answer, never seen anything back from Lilith. So looking at Treasure Scramble, this is another place where you have to adjust your formations. Every single time we come in here to the Treasure Scramble, this is going to adjust and change formations. Now you can go through your recommendations, you can go through the popular formations. There are a lot of different formations in here, and really looking and seeing, it'll probably say my follower limit is exceeded. We can use a formation, we can copy the formation. We have most of these built in the entirety, except Lan. Lan is the only one, which I want to try to do some more summons. There we go, we got that formation set. And guys, that is a lot of PvP. Heroes of Esperia, Treasure Vanguard, Treasure Scramble. Then, of course, we have the LC, the Legends Challenger, and we also do have the Legends Championship. It's kind of crazy with the amount of PvP that we have going on right now. Generation 1 to awaken, replace Gwen from Nightmare Quarter. Yeah, depending, again, who you have. That is the really big thing to remember, guys, is when it comes to heroes within AFK Arena. And even when we think of support heroes, for instance, when you look at Liberta, when you think of Shuna, when you look at Nox, when you look at Aurelia, when you look at a lot of heroes that we have within AFK Arena, even looking at Melion and Lan, they are going to fill a formation for an incredible amount of time just based on the design of the support heroes. Just because another support hero like Nox does come out, doesn't make and really doesn't render the rest of the heroes kind of useless. It's you have to remember that. Got you 300 points from Masters last night, went to sleep, woke up to Masters this morning. Yeah, Darren, that's happened quite a bit to me. We had a few where we made a little bit of progression in there. That's awesome. Congratulations. Like I said, for most players, including myself, the only thing that I'm looking to do is get to Masters. That's it. That is where I stop it in the entirety. Short of the last couple minutes that we try to hop in there and grab something that is in with that Legends rating, but overall, that is where we want to sit. We're exactly where we want to be. A Dragon Isle, this again is kind of a place that players hate in its entirety. We got a couple more of our Draconic Insignias. Again, we're looking for Lan. We still need, I believe it was 7. It's either 7 or 8 copies that we still need of Lan, which means we're probably looking at the next 6 months, which is kind of crazy to get these copies of Lan. And there we go, guys. Streamer luck. We get one right out of the gate. Very nice. That is one copy closer. Now, again, I think we need one more for Mythic Plus, but that is one copy of land. Every time we get a copy, guys, it is one copy closer to the hero being completed. And of course, when it does come to Skyland, it's a hero that I have no intention on building. And the reason being, when it comes to a point, we're going to have to see what comes with the next Draconic hero here. But overall, when it comes to the point of building out land or having land, we want land built. Skyland, again, is a hero that for the cost, I don't see the possibility of any way to get the hero, any way to build the hero, any way to really have the hero at all. I'm looking at the insignias. I'm even going to start saving for the next hero that is coming down the pipeline when it comes to those insignias, when it comes to getting the Draconic emblems, when it comes to everything else. I'm just going to wait till the next one. I'm going to skip Skyland. There's no way. And if you guys know, when it comes to the regular summons for the Draconic heroes, players are running about 700 Draconic insignias to get the copies they need to build that hero up. 700 insignias, guys. We're getting what? I think like 60 or 70 on a monthly basis. It's incredible. Again, the cost. They need to adjust something. They need to change something. I don't know at what point are they going to. If they're going to, that is kind of yet to be seen. But you can notice most things out of here we have pretty well done. I know we did the Misty Valley last time we were in here. Let's pop open these chests. We'll do a couple summons in here because we have our weekly summon. Still looking for, I believe, our last 3 heroes. But overall, we're at the point where we're looking for those awakened heroes. That's really the big thing right now, the awakened heroes. We need red chests like crazy to continue building out Randall. But again, we're going to have to wait and see exactly what that looks like because we're getting 5 right here. It's just incredibly consuming. Down here, we have 40 already. We have 20 of our epic emblems. Not going to be enough to really do anything at this point. Did pick up another copy of Eugene. Now, Eugene, of course, Hilduin and Eugene out of the shop. They are heroes that we're going to build eventually. It's going to take an incredible amount of time, but eventually they're going to get to the point of being at 5 stars, and that's kind of where we're building them. I'm glad I made it. Appreciate all your videos. Oh, thank you, Alex. Thanks for joining us for the stream. Primo spent 3.5K diamonds just to reach Masters. Well worth it. When you think of what you get from Masters, that is huge. That is huge to build that out. 7 stones here, guys. Boom. Who did we get? We got nobody. All recycled materials. No Celestials. No Hippos in there. Then, of course, our rare stones, we'll go ahead and grab those as well. So, unfortunately, nobody new with our summons. Let's see. So, we got some faction cards. We have a couple things in here. Stargazer, again, we built Nox last time. I'm saving all my resources to see what comes in the future. Temple of Time, we're almost to 600 insignias, or excuse me, time emblems again. We are getting an Awakened Oscar. So I heard that rumor, and I've heard it more than once now, the Awakened version of Oscar. I feel like that's going to be a waste if they go ahead and they make the Awakened version of Oscar, just because when I start thinking of Oscar as a hero, there is no point in AFK Arena that anyone ever utilized or anyone ever cared about Oscar. That's why I'm a little concerned with that one, just because players don't have any connection like what we see with Shamira, what we see, you know, the old school players with the Awakened version of Thane. There's no connection to Oscar, and there's never been a connection to Oscar, which again, I really don't like. I don't like that thought that it's going to be Oscar. And again, the Awakened version of Oscar, I don't think it makes sense. I don't think it makes sense for the choice. If that's the way they want to go, ultimately, it is what it is. But yeah, Awaken Oscar, there you go. So Awaken Oscar is going to be released and is going to be very, very bad. PvP in this game is just beyond annoying. Made it to the Star League, thankfully. Yeah, Corey, it like we were talking earlier, it is very pay to win. That's it. And it is very, when it comes to PvP, you are talking, you know, 95% pay to win, 5% if you have the heroes to make formations, but almost all of it is entirely pay to win. That's what it is. It's Chef. Oh, that would be. Primo says it is Chef Ramsay as a dimensional. That would be crazy to see a Chef Ramsay in here. That would be pretty funny, honestly. But that'd be pretty cool. I'm stuck in Diamond 1. Yeah, again, PvP, very expensive. If you don't have the heroes, if you don't have the build for PvP, it's going to be incredibly hard. Now in here, we were building out a couple heroes. Now you'll notice in here that I do have Misha in here. Now the reason being, when I went back and I looked at Rocketay's furniture list, this was one of the very, I think it was a god tier or it was the absolute top tier. So I did put Misha back in here because it's a hero, of course, we are utilizing, built her out quite a bit, used in a couple different formations. So we'll go ahead, we'll do some summons. Now we want to finish out Nox's furniture. That is the goal that we have right here. There's another piece for Entendre. We've started to getting a couple heroes that are maxed with 36 furniture. And if you're unfamiliar, yes, you can strengthen your furniture all the way up to a 36 furniture, which is crazy, adding a lot more stats in there. Unfortunately, there are no new abilities, but there are a lot of stats. The awakened version of Rosaline better. Yeah, that would be cool. What's going on, Mystical? In Temporal Rift, I got Lucilla, Eugene, and Aetha. Awakened Athalia, some real luck. Oh, that is awesome for the beckoning place. You better stick with that formation because that is going to work. So we have one right here, and I don't think we have enough for Nox. Let me see what we got. We are almost there with the buddy right there. So we need what? One more for Nox. I'm wondering where we can get a couple more of these cards. And again, Nox is a hero when it comes to furniture, when it comes to the engraving, when it comes to the hero build overall. He's a support hero where the better you build him, or really the higher you build him, the better he's going to perform. And of course, here we have some maxed out furniture here. Still working on maxing out the rest of our furniture. And the same with the awakened version of Iran is maxing out and upgrading this furniture in the entirety. Maybe we got enough for another summon, which I think we're a little bit short. Yep, Nox is still going to be one single one short. I've been taking a long break from AFK Arena. Yeah, Mystical, let me know if you've tried companions. A lot of players that were kind of taking a break, that were kind of tired of AFK Arena have been really enjoying companions. I know a lot of players, again, that kind of left. They're not coming back. It is what it is. But overall, there's a lot of players that have come back, really enjoyed the lighthearted, I guess, easier side of AFK companions. But let me know. Let me know what you think. How do you awaken a butler? So Oscar becomes Alfred from Batman. There you go. So look at that. Corey drew the lines and connected the dots. So we are going to get Alfred from Batman. What if the crossover is Batman? That would be kind of crazy. Any awakened Lightbearer makes no sense. Yeah, and again, when you start looking at the connection of the heroes itself, which we'll look at it in just a minute, but when you start looking at the connection of really the heroes themselves and thinking, you know, older AFK Arena, what makes sense to have an awakened hero? Lucius made sense. Belinda and Thane, yes, all three of these totally made sense. Again, as a player that has been playing this for a total of 5+ years, all three of those heroes made sense in their entirety. Who else would make sense? Thinking of older school heroes, I think Rain, if you guys are unfamiliar, and I've shared this before, Rain was absolutely my #1 hero in AFK Arena, and she is and will always be my first ascended hero in AFK Arena. Rain, I could see them doing something with, or possibly Estrilda. Estrilda is another one that players have used for an incredible amount of time. Both of them, again, thinking of the nostalgia. Rosaline would be another one, but thinking of the nostalgia, thinking of the heroes itself, both of those would be pretty easy. What's going on, Yoshi? Yeah, I could see a couple, even maybe like a Gwen, which again, I don't know with the Draconic Gwen, that kind of wouldn't make sense now. But yeah, Hendrik-wise, but again, thinking of Estrilda, thinking of Rain, those are probably the two that I would kind of choose. Who else wields a knife? Well, if it's coming out Lightbearer, we don't know. I wonder if possibly it might be a dimensional, because also remember, if they release another hero, another awakened hero in 2025, they broke the rule of going through all of the heroes. So essentially what we're seeing in there could be a dimensional hero that we're seeing. Yeah, Estrilda, again, Estrilda would make sense. Rain would make sense. A couple of those heroes that we've used for an incredible amount of time would make sense. Again, Oscar to me doesn't make sense because this is a hero that nobody has really ever used. and it wouldn't make sense. And of course, when it comes to the Awakened Heroes, it shouldn't be this early either. We should have to wait until essentially 2025 until we get an Awakened Hero. It might, again, I don't think they're going to come a little bit early, and I hope not. I hope not, guys. What's going on, Santi? Or Sunsi? What is going on indeed? So again, Temporal Rift. Now, Temporal Rift, we've started putting in our teams. Got a lot of feedback around the Awakened version of Thorin. So interesting enough. So when it comes to this, I know Defense Force, I think we have to put in another team. Let me bring up my teams over here of who we're putting in for our third slot. And I want to make sure that we do. So this one is the Awakened version of Shamira, is the third one. Now, again, using some of the data that we've gotten over on Discord, a couple different places, that a lot of players said the Awakened version of Thorin works incredibly well. A lot of players said don't use Thorin at all because it's going to go ahead and it is going to mess with the ability to make progression in here. I'm on the fence. I wanted to try it. We can always reset. We can always do whatever we need to change it up in here. But I definitely wanted to try it out. And so far with Thorin, it's doing okay. It is doing okay. So this one, we are going to get the Frosty Trap in here. And then we're going to switch up how this one is kind of built. And I don't know why, when you have it on auto, you'll notice like this formation is already victorious. That wasn't my formation. So it did mess with the first formation, and we got victory in the first formation, which was kind of silly. So let's go ahead. We'll pop this one in, and then we'll pop that one in. Oh, is it not going to select three? Oh, from three formations. That's the other formation that's in the first one. Again, I don't like how this kind of screws it up going in here because I'm not going to be able to pick that one formation. I wonder if we just reset this. Let's reset this. There we go. Again, I don't like how it auto. They need to fine tune or kind of tweak the auto in here, and it looks like, oh, it didn't save. It didn't save any of our heroes. Well, that's kind of garbage too. Let me go ahead. Let me set the formations in here because we had a few that are down here. See, and again, I don't know the reason why it does it this way, where I can't just copy the formations because I already have all of the heroes in here. Again, it doesn't make sense. I don't like how it puts it in here because then it doesn't let me go ahead and put the rest of the formation. It's kind of crazy. And look at that, guys, a gifting of the membership right off the bat. Thank you for gifting the membership. I love seeing the little hippos right there. Maybe Cecilia in a there you go. It could be Cecilia. That's a good question. Thorin, they will always have low hit points when you lose. You lose more stamina. So I've noticed a couple where I don't. I noticed a couple where I didn't lose any stamina at all. Yeah, 50-50 Awakened Thorin. And overall, this is the team we're using. So again, it depends if it catches Thorin or if it doesn't catch Thorin. And honestly, for where my heroes are built, it seems like it's relatively easy just to push through, kind of just to push through where we're at. Let me drop these teams in here. Now this, of course, we are using Aziz, and I'm not sure why. So we were using Aziz in this formation. Again, I don't like that it just doesn't let me set these. We were using Aziz, and I have to make sure that I do this right because we are using Jerome in this combination, and then we are using Gavis. Make sure again, and I have put wrong heroes in here before, don't put it past me. The Awakened version of Belinda, which is super broken, and then we go ahead and we drop our Lava Tune in there. That is team number 2. Team number 3 is that Awakened version of Shamira. Again, having these heroes built out to a very, very high level does make a big difference. We have Aurelia and Gwen. So let me make sure we drop Aurelia in there. And then we do have Gwen, which is right there. And the final one in here is, of course, Gwen's buffer, which is Melion. So looking in here also, we are doing the Trap is going to be our first one. Then we have the Axe in the Cloud, which some of these we don't have built out at this point. I'm going to do, let's do the Boulder Armor. And then we'll do the Cloud. There we go. So now we can start. Now we can get back into the PvP part. It's fine if you replay floor 1 enough. You could get the Beckoning Place Raw. Yeah, you could get a free one. Dolly's description, it says uses knives for hunting and cooking. That's true. Well, hunting and cooking. So Oscar does not hunt. That again is something where I kind of wonder because we know that Oscar does not hunt. Oscar is only a chef. Oscar is a butler. I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know what it's going to look like and what exactly we are going to get in the future. It's kind of a question mark on what it's going to be. He said it's just good. We're supposed to be top tier overpower. Plot twist: the Awaken will be Walker. There we go. He attaches his bayonet to the gun. We figured it out, guys. Just watch a hero in December. Going to be, yeah, Mystical. Mystical needs to bite his tongue, because if they do another Highborn Draconic hero, that's going to be crazy. So we'll do 1, 2, 3 in here. There we go. So those teams are set. So the first one, of course, is Thorin. This one does run the Trap. Second team, which is going to be right here. Third team, which is Chimera, is running our Cloud. And then, of course, we have everything else set in here. Now, thing to remember, a lot of times it drops the collections out of here. I don't know why it still continues to do this. I've come here a couple times and I didn't have any collections equipped like that. I don't know the logic behind it. I don't know why it keeps happening to a lot of different players, but overall you hop in here and then the collection is here. Maybe it's not an Awaken hero. That's my thought, Primo, is when we start looking at the release schedule, when we start looking at the Awaken heroes, it is not time for an Awaken hero. And if they keep doing these Awaken heroes, they said they would go through an iteration of everybody the first time, and that is where it stopped. That is where, you know, the iteration through essentially all of the factions. Once that was completed, that's the point that they should stop for 2024. So I'm thinking it's not going to be an Awaken hero because, again, systematically, timeline, it shouldn't be an Awaken hero. Generation 3 Awaken started December. Generation 4 should start in December. So the reason they started it a little bit earlier was the double release. If you remember with the Generation 3, it was Gavis and Eugene. They did the whole backstory. They did the whole thing around December. We had feedback at that point about releasing the hero before the end of the year. So I don't know if they're going to do something like that where it's more than one hero. I don't know if there's going to be another regular Draconic hero. But honestly, when you start looking at 2024, we haven't really gotten very many heroes that are the regular primary 4 faction. I know a lot of players are super disappointed. It's weird that they've done so many heroes, again, that are not and have not really been tested in a lot of different places, or they're not in the order they used to be. Let me hop in here. Let me make sure we have the SP effect, because I think that might be changing up a little bit in here. This one we have to have entendres, and that one is good for number 2. I just thought about this right now. This should be Belinda. So look at these. All 3 of these, I believe, are going to be wrong. The third one should be, and I believe it's going to be, I think it's Chimera in here. Again, just thinking, yeah, Chimera is the third team. There we go. Now we got, so all 3 of my SP effects were wrong. That's going to make a big difference. Rando, OP, yeah. There's a couple that have done incredibly well, but overall, it needs to be the regular faction. It needs to be the regular 4 faction heroes. We need to get more of those. I'm even to the point where I don't have anyone left to summon. It's tough when it comes to our regular summoning scrolls. We don't have anyone left to summon. And of course, going through here, we want to finish our first 100 floors of the Rift out as soon as possible. And we're doing it right now. But the hero just being good or niche play, they don't need to be expensive as they are. Yes, absolutely agree with you, Corey. When it comes to heroes that don't have a lot of utility, it's very, very tough to spend a high investment on a hero that is just going to be used in one place. We've seen it, you know, even looking at the Awakened version of Thane, where he is used within the Nightmare Corridor in one formation to build and fully build an Awakened hero out to the point to be able to use him in the Nightmare Corridor to get the damage out of that Awakened version of Thane. That's the only place. It is so niche. Why don't you ever try the Vexing Realm? I can go through either one of them. I could go through the Vexing Realm. The thing with this is the way that this was built is the path of least resistance gives you the ability to come through here the fastest with the really the least loss of stability is the reason why we come through here. See, even floors do. So you can see we're almost at, well, that puts us at 1,000 of our stability. It's pretty easy to go through here nowadays. And I know Alfred, us, a couple other players were talking about it yesterday. When it comes to this game mode specifically, most players can get 300 floors with minimal effort. We've seen the exact same where my free-to-play account was going through all of the content. it's not super hard to get through here. Honestly, it's not hard if you're coming in here on a regular basis to go through the Temporal Rift and get through the to get through all these floors. Yeah, exactly. There you go. So the Vexing Realm doesn't offer any real benefit other than bragging rights, which again, I'm not too worried about it, Corey. Even here, so a lot of players also were inquiring, why don't we go in and really push for a frame? Why don't we try to get the season frames out of here, which I don't think I have any of them from the Temporal Rift. Honestly, guys, when it comes to aesthetics, and this is my personal preference, when it comes to aesthetics in games, when we're talking about frames, when we're talking about animated avatars, when we're talking about skins, it's always been my preference. I could care less about them in their entirety. If they don't have anything that is going to help my heroes, that is going to help progression, that is going to be a benefit overall, I could really care less about the frames that they offer in here. Because remember, out of all the frames that we have, and I believe we're at like 30, maybe 40 plus frames at this point, you can only wear one. That's it. You can only wear one. Same with the animated avatar. You can only have one. That's it, guys. You're not sitting here and, you know, stocking up and putting 30 avatar frames or whatever. Again, I could care less about the frame. Usually I don't wear a frame, or I just wear whatever's the newest, and that's it. You can just abandon the Vexing Realm. There we go. So like I said, there's not a big reason, because this will farm it automatically. And I think right now 100 floors are open. If I remember correctly, we're just at 100 floors. So we're not going to be able to go any further. Once we cap that, then we can hop over. We can do some for some companions. I know a lot of players always want to look at companions, see where we're at progression wise. And honestly, we're just over there farming right now is the big thing. That means your rem is weak. You want the snake to scale. Yeah, so there was a post over on Reddit talking about Rendell and talking about who Rendell buffs. You have to make sure that you have someone who is very, very strong in a formation for Rendell essentially to work with. That is where even running in here with the Awakened version of Chimera, where I have an 80 engraving, Chimera is maxed out in the entirety. We want Rendell to work in a very specific method if he is not following, similar to Rosaline. So this is the issue. If you guys remember with Rosaline, where we had problems with the hero following who you wanted to, you had to change gear, had to do a bunch of BS, and then they got to the point where with Rosaline, they allowed you to put who you want Rosaline to follow. With Randall, they need to do the exact same thing. They need to have you assign who you want the hero to follow, just to make it a lot easier so you don't have to question where the buffs are going systematically. Again, it's weird how they do this sometimes, and how it assigns where the hero goes, or who essentially in formations get the buff, even if the combat rating is higher, but depending on the attack rating, then depending on what they gain during battle. There's a lot of stuff. Is Kelthin worth building? Honestly, if you're looking, Ali, at anyone who is going to go through the Hippo Tower right now, Kelthin is the one to use. Kelthin does show up and does appear in some formations in the Cursed Realm and the Nightmare Corridor. And again, if you have every single hero built out, you might not see him as much. If you don't, Kelthin is still going to be used a couple places. And he's also pretty good for PvP with the crowd control, with a couple other things. He does work pretty well. But overall, I don't know what's coming in the future. So if you're sitting on a ton of resources, Kelthin would be worth building, just again, simply for the tower and the couple other places. But if you're not sitting on a ton of resources, I would wait. Because if you can borrow Kelthin, you fill the same slot. That, of course, is something, guys, you can't really negate, or you can't discount, is the ability to borrow heroes from the friends list. When you start looking at heroes like Kelthin, where if you don't need, when you cover the Nightmare Corridor on the Cursed Realm, borrowing one copy of a hero is really all you need. You don't need to build the hero yourself. As long as you have access to that hero, it does make sense. I stopped seeing Kelthin. Yeah. So Kelthin, again, is still used in a couple places, even thinking of some of the Cursed Realm and the Nightmare Corridor formations, where if you don't have every single hero built out, there's going to be a point where you're using Kelthin because you don't have, you don't have a Skyland, you don't have a couple of heroes that are best in slot. It would make a big difference. I'm starting a free-to-play account focused on Wilders. What do you think I should stargaze for? Still, the Bearda, and for TE, Leica, and Solus. If you're going Wilder, yes. that would be your very good choice. And honestly, you could go for Liberta being, again, the highest utility if you want to start free to play. That is a good place. Liberta works without being even maxed out, without having a crazy build. Liberta still works very well. And I think this is our last boss, 100 floors in. And I'm thinking the Awakened version of Athalia and Chimera, the duo here with Gwen, is probably going to burn him down pretty quick. Boom, there we go, -4 stability. So here, even running the Awakened version of Thorin didn't make a difference because the floras do. We went ahead, we built this out. Worked pretty well. Even here, I've noticed 10 or 12 stamina. Here's 34, of course, because Tamara's died. Tamara's might be at a point where I have to replace him with someone else. But overall, I believe this is going to be 100 floors completed to really go through here. Getting to star requires, yes. So Yoshi, as they've continued to kind of consolidate a lot of stuff, it takes a lot more grinding. It takes a lot more grinding. So there we go. Yep, 5 more days and that will be available for us. But look at the loot. Guys, this is incredible right here to get this loot. Not only getting some of these Draconic Scrolls, but you're getting your regular summons. Look at this, 300 Amplifying Emblems. If you're a newer player and you're getting 300 Primordial, 300 Amplifying Emblems, that is a godsend early game. Being able to make progression, being able to build up some signature items, that is a really, really big part. Like I said in the video last night, going through here, getting your Stargazer Scrolls, getting your Time Emblems and your Stargazer Scrolls. Those are really the big thing in here. You could go in here, but again, Hilduin's out of the guild shop. We have Eugene out of the guild shop. That is where I would build both of those. And then, of course, Brutus, Aziz, and Taylene not really being used. Solus would be the only one. But honestly, I would much rather have these Time Emblems than I would having that copy of Solus, for the simple fact that there are a lot of heroes that are a higher priority than the Awakened version of Solus. So I would really focus on getting these in their entirety first before you start looking and buying out other things within there. Guys, we got the Rift caught up. We got the Heroes of Esperia. We're capped with where we want to be. Pretty much caught up on the account, which I'm very happy with, which is awesome. Thanks for your answer. But for the Awakened character, should I focus on Laika or Solus? Honestly, Laika is going to work. So when you think of Denja, when you think of the Awakened heroes, the Awakened version of Athalia, the Awakened version of Chimera, and really the Awakened version of Laika are the 3 primary top like SSS tier heroes that we see. Those are the focus. So if you're building a Wilder only account, yeah, the Awakened version of Laika will work incredibly well. She's really unique in her ability to shield the front line or the back line, and then having that delay coming into battle does a lot of damage. The SP effect does work pretty well with her. All 3 of them are going to work pretty well. Yeah, Awakened Laika over Solus, absolutely. But again, they're both going to work pretty well. Let's hop over. We got a couple minutes left, about 18 minutes left. Want to hop over to Companion, see what this is. Yeah, you need Solus, 1 copy. Again, if you can borrow it, that is always something to remember. It is who can you borrow? Who can you borrow? Who you can use? What do you buy from the merchants? I'm thinking pay to win in a new server. What do you buy from the merchants? Any of the noble societies. That is going to be really one of the big things from the merchants. If you're going pay to win on a new server, the merchants are going to be huge in there. And then, of course, not only the when you go in there is getting your advancement rewards. And look at that, D2. Wow, it has been a while, guys. 30 months, almost going on 3 years. Doing absolutely fantastic, guys. Still loving the AFK arena journey. I know D2 is absolutely crushing it on companions. Wanted to, again, hop in, wanted to get our loot out of here. I like a lot of these things that they've done to companions, and I'm hoping, and I know a lot of you that play companions as well, are really hoping that they're going to backfill some of the content. And look at this, guys. You talk about being stuck within essentially a game mode or within a level. Look at this from companions. I don't know if it's going to let me push this little piece up. Look at the players in here. When it comes to chapter 23, just like we've seen at 22, we've started making a little bit of progression to actually start pushing through 23. But as you can see, everybody is now stuck in 23 to what we've seen at 22. Incredibly difficult. Now, we did get our season 1 frame. We ranked 5th. Big shout out again to D2 Mesmer for going and really pushing the Abyssal Expedition. They did incredibly well within that game mode, but overall going through making progression. we are stuck and we are stopped again with where we're at right now. I'm 4 copies away from getting Skyland Ascended. Wow, that is crazy, Mystic. Just go full Kraken and buy. Yeah, so some, there is no squid in the fish sauce. That is a nice name. There is no squid in the fish sauce. Yeah, like I said, if you're going in pay to win, if you're going into a new server, the advancement rewards, then the noble societies, then the cards, you can really get out of the gate if you want to buy heroes. That is the most expensive pay to win area that you could do, is if you're going in there and you're literally just buying your heroes. Again, depending what your budget is, we have people who have started new servers and dropped like $10,000 the first week when they were on a new server, literally just buying everything in there. It's kind of crazy, but yes, companions make Arena look so sad. Yeah, Arena over here is definitely an entirely different feel, but I wanted to hop over. I wanted to do some summons in here, and I like how they give us the loot, how they give us these chests. I do like it. We've gotten to the point also where we got into 23, and now you start getting into all of your mythic gear. You start getting into a lot of a higher level content. And this is what I'm talking about when it comes to this mythic gear. Level Up is going to introduce our tier stones. Once your guild reaches level 9, we will have the tier stones in there. So finally getting to the point of being able to buy out mythic gear. Me personally, I still bought the summons out of here. We still need a lot more food. This is something, again, that I know has been addressed. This is actually something that they talked about over on Discord, is not having food in companions, not having the ability, even though you have the copies of heroes, but not having the ability to build them out any further. I'm really hoping before the end of the year, they put out a plan for players to improve summonings for Draconic. They need to, JC. JC Gamer, you are spot on. Oh, why does the bag look so empty? Oh, yeah, when you look at the bag here, we don't have any collections. We don't have any gear. There's nothing in here, guys. We keep utilizing the gear that we're getting to build up the current gear we have. That is why the bag is so empty. And there's no artifacts. There's no class-specific artifacts. There's no collections. There's no garbage that is in here in its entirety. What are you in the metacomp? So metacomps, I'm running really 2. One is the Wilders, of course, going together. And then the second one that I'm running is the Graveborn. Now, of course, support is coming. Even when running with the Graveborn, I'm running usually Rosaline, which we have right here, in conjunction with Shamira. That's an old school comp. Even adding Damon into the comp as well, doing incredibly well. Let's hop in. Let's see if we can get some summons out of here. Yeah, the bag is kind of crazy empty. Greetings from Australia. Should I build Lucius, Iran, Thorin, or Gavis next? I feel like I should focus on Gavis and then Iran because of the cost of Lucius and the usage of Thorin. You could definitely go that way. If you look at Gavis, Gavis is almost like a support hero. So Gavis, you could absolutely do. Now, of course, when you look at Iran, Iran is another one where it requires a very, very high build. Same with Lucius, same with Thorin. They do require a very high build. You could build Gavis again. Gavis is SS tier, so literally the top tier when it comes to the heroes, but plays more of a support role. And of course, it also depends, Philip, on who you can borrow. So if you're not wanting to build out Lucius, because Lucius out of all of those requires by far the absolute biggest, the biggest build of anyone. Yeah, you could go Gavis, you could do Iran. Thorin, again, utility-wise, doesn't really seem as high. You could do Iran or Gavis. That's kind of your choice. They're both worked. They both work very, very well within their game mode. Which hero is coming next to Companions? I believe, who was coming next? I know we've seen it. It wasn't until a young girl drew her bow and forced to slay the Dragonlight that everyone realized the great strength that believed to her. That would be Gwen. I believe that is going to be Gwen. That is going to be coming. So a light bear, Gwen is going to be the another one. Unless, how funny would it be, guys, looking at that, if it's not going to be Gwen? What if it was the Draconic version of Gwen? Congratulations, Companions. We have the Draconic version of Gwen. Everybody quit because nobody wants it. And that's it. It would shut it down right now. But I think it is going to be the regular version of Gwen. I don't think they're going to release the Draconic version anytime soon, but that's essentially what it is going to. What's going on? Thanks for joining us. Is it Bilal? Thank you for joining us, guys. There is Silas. We need food. We need rare heroes in here. There's another 3 copies. Come on, let's get lucky. Where's our Celestials and our Hippos? There's a copy of Shamira. Shamira is almost done at this point as well. We have been adding a lot more copies on there. Not buying any bundles. We haven't put anything in here since we started, since we did our initial purchases in here. Let's see if we can grab another copy of a Wilder, which is Iran. Now remember, Iran is already at 5 stars. So getting additional copies in Iran, as much as I don't want them, are still very good, because that means we can use those copies of Iran for food. We can get them. Yeah, that's it. So Draconic Gwen, again, it would be kind of funny if they did pop her in here. Everyone would be like, what in the world did they just do? But I think it is going to be our regular Gwen. Let's do some companion summons. I think we have a few more to pick up, some more copies again of Chimera. There we go, another elite. It is Tassie again. And then remember, this is going to be Greyborn summons. I didn't realize in the beginning, but yes, it is Greyborn cards you summon out of here. Boom, got a couple more. And I think we might have enough to get actually 1 or 2 copies of, or see where Chimera's at. Now here, we're still building Taline. We went back and forth. We got that 1 copy of Mortis. Now we're still just looking to get some resources out of here, get some cards. I will definitely take that Mauler card. But overall, getting these copies, there is Brutus. Let's see if we can build anyone up. Very slow progression. Congratulations. Yeah, exactly. Go right back to dragon farming on companions. And again, everyone would just absolutely lose their mind if that's what happens. Now for the Greyborn heroes, I want to run through and kind of show you who we have built at this point. So we have 1 food right here with Angelo. We are building out. We're going to finish up right here with Rosaline. I have the double copies right here. So a couple more pieces of food. That is going to take her to Ascended. Then I'm probably going to build, and looking right now, Sonya, but I don't know with Gwen coming in. We have 2 Ascended right here. Now in here, we are still looking to build out, and I want to build out Scrag. I want to build out Scrag all the way to Ascended. Still waiting for some more copies right here of Titus. And then again, a little bit more food in here. We can build out a couple more heroes. Could go Brutus. Could go a couple different ways. Now in here, we are looking for our 4th, that's right, the 4th Ascended hero, which of course is going to be Tassie. With that being said though, you can see we have a couple copies right here. We need 1 more copy. I'm going to be using copies of probably Pippa and probably using Cirrus out of here to use as food. And then of course, if we get a couple more copies of Iran, because he's 5 stars already, we're going to go ahead and use him. Now in here, like I said, with Chimera, I think we're at 3 stars, almost to 4 stars right there. Grez, remember, when it comes to the ability, they do have extra stats with the Divine ability. For both Chimera and for Grez, they have the Divine ability. And now I'm looking at Silas. Silas is going to be the next one that I'm going to build out of here. I thought about Desira because I had more copies, but we know Silas with the signature item does do incredibly well. Here, we're still looking for more copies of anyone, really looking for Taline in there. Then we got lucky in here. We pulled our 1 copy of Mortis. No dimensionals right now. To kind of sum up where we're at with companions right now. Honestly, I like this because what it sits right now, or how it sits right now, it's very easy to come in here, to do a couple summons, and to be done. It's very, very easy, not time consuming, not stressful, not really anything at all as it sits right now. I can come in here, I can do, run through the bounty board. I can do all of my guild bosses. We can do the little PvP event that we have going on right now. And that's good. That's it. That's the only commitment that I want. That's the only commitment we need. Guild Hunt, we are in 3rd. And of course, look, so Shelter came in number 1 when it came to the Abyssal Expedition. The Hell was number 2. FHG, we came in 5th, according to the standing, but Highly Active, I believe, was 4th. And then, yeah, we're coming in at 3 right there. Again, exact same thing that we see on the regular servers, making sure that you're sending your heroes in operations, and then, of course, picking up all of your resources out of here. That's it. Guys, we're pretty much done. Short of grinding out of here, which we can auto. I love the auto feature to just grind out of there. It does work. I don't do the Ghoulish Gallery that much anymore. So Darren, I do it once a week. So the thing to remember is when it comes to the Ghoulish Gallery, I use my attempts every week because it's really, really RNG. You can use some crappy totems within there and still get some pretty good returns. And ultimately, it's a place to farm diamonds. You can get collections in there. You can recycle the collections. You can go in there. You can play around with it. Again, time consuming. You can auto it. It doesn't take long at all to go in there and auto. Now in here, we're still waiting for Essence. just like we see within the classic version, the companions version, it is the exact same. We are waiting for essence in its entirety. And then looking at the gear we have for these heroes, we are just going through and we are using everything that we're picking up, trying to build this up a little bit further. It's just a slow grind with the game overall. And again, a lot of players are liking it. I don't know how many players are going to stick with it long term, but I do like the team up aspect. Erase is still right here. We're still running through, again, a lot of content. You can see, hit the jackpot. It's cool how they did the duo, or the co-op ability that you can use your teammates' heroes. It's some pretty cool features in here, but overall, we have to see what the longevity of this really does look like. I stopped doing it months ago. Yeah. And again, you get some diamonds out of there, but you need them. If you want to talk about something that probably a lot of players are overlooking, it is the Ghoulish Gallery. As much as I consider it too, it's kind of time consuming. It's kind of a pain in the butt to do the Ghoulish Gallery, even though they've made it a lot easier. It is imperative if you want to make progression, if you want to score a lot higher in game modes, you have to farm and you have to go and you have to do the Ghoulish Gallery. It's kind of crazy. How are you, FHE? Any plan to do live sessions on the financial page? Actually, Kookie, I'm going to this week. I'm going to have to start planning them. I know I've been doing quite a few videos kind of based on what we can do. Yes, I need to start doing lives and I need to start doing the live streams on the financial page on a regular basis. We are north of 7,000, I think 7,030 subscribers over on the financial channel, which is crazy. We've been making a lot of progression. And a lot of subs, a lot of new viewers, a lot of new subs on the finance channel. But yes, I definitely have to get back into the lives. I let my membership to StreamYard retire or expire, so I'm going to have to get that back up. Yes, definitely going to have to. See you later, Corey. Have a good day. And here, I feel like maybe we got to add in Rosaline. I'm thinking, let's drop this in. I know Damon's probably going to die pretty quick, but I'm hoping the combination of these two, and I honestly should have put Rowan up front, which I'm going to have to if we don't get this one done. Because even here, Rosaline provides quite a bit of protection because of her abilities. There we go. So we got the ultimate. Hopefully it's going to heal, which it did. Yeah, look at it here. As Shamira's pretty tough. Look at that. Shamira gets that done. Again, Shamira is a monster. If you're unfamiliar with the original version of Shamira, Shamira is very, very tough to kill with the ability to heal. It works well. I do like it. I wouldn't come back. Haven't played AFK Arena in 2 years. It was worth coming back. I mean, honestly, if you want to, SNK, come back, try Companions. I feel like if you're not going to put a lot of time and effort and you've been gone for 2 years, try Companions, see what you think. There are so many things you've missed within that 2-year time frame. It's either starting new, and even if you start new, it's going to be an incredible time consumption. If you're newer, if you're coming back again to AFK Arena, try Companions. See what you think. This is the reason, again, I like Companions, and I'm playing Companions right now. I do like it because there is really no time constraint. I can log in here once or twice a day. I can spend, 10 or 15 minutes going through some content. Once I go through and my auto battle stops, I can go to the Forked Road, I can go to the towers, then I can be done for the day. It is something that is literally getting back to the AFK methodology that we had once upon a time, that you can go back and you can just pick it up and play when you want to, and then go ahead and kind of stop playing when you want to. It works very well. So guys, I think we're about to the end of the stream. I want to do the gifting of the memberships before we're done. There we go. It should pop up in just a minute, and it goes to Isa. So congratulations on the gifting of the membership, guys. We do this every single time that we do our live stream. We do the gifting of the membership. If I don't forget, sometimes I do forget. But yeah, definitely want to thank you guys for all the love and support for the channel, guys. We're coming up on 40,000 subscribers, which is kind of crazy. I know AFK Arena, again, we don't know the future of the game. Going on 6 years now for AFK Arena. Kind of crazy to think that it has been that long in its entirety, but it's really cool. Nothing left better than using the best 3 totems. So that's what happened to me. So I did the exact same. So I used 3 of the best totems. The only thing I got were 2 level ups. And then I think I did get a 3rd one just out of the RNG factor. But the 2 levels up, 1 mythic ability, it was really crap. I did a run where I used, I believe it was 2 purples or 3 purples just to farm it. I ended up getting like 5, which is insane. I got like 5 mythic abilities out of using some purple totems. Don't ask me why. The RNG in that factor is just really BS. I don't like it. 6 years crazy. It's been the latest year. Yeah, I definitely agree with you, JC Gamer. They have to do some changes. There's gonna have to be some things with AFK Arena that changes if they want the longevity. I don't feel like companions is the answer to it. I feel like they need to do some adjustments in the primary game before we get into, or before they continue, because I think overall, even income generation, gross income generation, they were 33rd or 36th. I think it was 33rd looking at mobile gaming on where the income generation for this game was, which again, they're alienating a lot of the player base. A lot of players with the Draconic Heroes, with everything going on, are not putting as much or playing AFK Arena like they used to. We're going to have to see exactly what comes. Yeah, and that's it. So the whales boycotted when it came to the engraving. That's the big thing. Journey is doing a lot better. Yes. Journey is another thing where I played AFK Journey for a while. It seems like that game is really taking off. The thing is, AFK Journey is very, very time consuming. To put AFK in front of Journey, it's not really there. It is so time consuming to play AFK Journey. That was the reason why I stopped playing, is ultimately, if I wanted to continue playing AFK Journey, I would probably have to drop AFK Arena, or just go all in on Journey, skip AFK Arena in its entirety. And the reason being the time consumption. When I was playing AFK Journey, I was talking like 2 or 3 hours a day, not only putting money in there, but that was the thing, is to be competitive. So to be competitive in a game, especially for AFK Journey, again, it's a lot of financial responsibility if you want to be some of the top performing players within the game itself. When you start looking at some of the, even to stay up with the whales, I mean, you're talking probably hundreds of dollars a month to even stay to the dolphin status in there. And then when you started looking at your celestials and your hypos, it was impossible to get them unless you're just putting, again, hundreds of dollars into the game on a regular basis. It was kind of crazy. I know there was a lot of craziness that was going on in there. But all right, guys, so that is going to do it for today's live stream. Thank you guys for joining me. All the love and support for the channel. Have a lot more content that's coming. Have a lot more, of course, with the AFK Arena. Gonna have to see if it is going to be the awakened version of Oscar. That's going to be kind of crazy. Very light spender on PTR1 server with all the whales. Very cool stuff. But again, guys, that is going to do it. Campaign has failed 10 times. The auto battle has stopped. So unfortunately, made a couple more floors, got some more resources. That's what it's all about. The continued progression over every single day makes a really big difference. So again, guys, thank you guys for joining me for the stream. Have a lot more coming. I'm going to try to get it up to the finance channel, streaming this week on the finance channel. So if you haven't, Furry Hippo Finance is my finance channel. We're going to stream over there this week. Make sure that we start doing that on a regular basis. Again, I'm having a lot of fun with it. But guys, again, have a great Sunday. I'm going to watch the Lions at 1 p.m. That's why we're doing stream a little bit earlier. Have a good weekend. I'll talk to you soon. And as always, thank you guys for watching.